Nauroze, hello.
Dan, how are you, mate? Where
Oh,
are you?
I'm currently in Canberra, standing outside the Attorney General's office.
Right,
But my hand
right.
disappears. My hand disappears right into the office. Ah! Christian Porter, let my hand go. Ah!
Funny, Mr. Porter tabled a report about me um, on the 5th of March.
Yep.
Um, it was made by the Australian Human Rights Commission, and it pretty much said that my detention has been arbitrary as an illegal since 5th of October 2016, and I should be released.
Mm.
And it's pretty interesting that um, Human Rights Commission doesn't have any compelling powers when it comes to um, us people. In every other jurisdiction in Australia, it has compelling powers. If so, nobody heeds to them, they take the other party to the court. But I mean, as a non-citizen detainee, I have no bloody rights.
Yeah. Wow. And how are you feeling there right now? I mean, it must be hard to kind of not only get your message out, but get your message out at this time must be very difficult because everybody is so consumed with coronavirus that other stories are going by the wayside.
Yeah, I mean, see, the good thing is because everybody is in, they get to read whatever it is,
Right.
would be right. And there's only so much that, contrary to popular belief, there's only so much that people want to hear about coronavirus. They want to
Right.
hear about what else is going on. And I reckon the message has been more amplified about my arbitrary detention during this lockdown.
Mm.
But having said that, the government and the bureaucracy has actually put me in the back burner
Right.
because so after I won my full federal court appeal on the 2nd of March 2020, the minister's meant to be releasing me from detention on a bridging visa,
Yeah.
right? And my guy is still sitting with his bureaucratic team in Canberra for him to have a brief on it. Because all he literally has to do is um, sign on the papers, so to say, and let me out. And it's still sitting with his bureaucratic team in Canberra, and it's pretty strange that a
Who the,
person
who is the decision maker there? Who is the decision maker there for you to sign? Get that.
so it's more than likely Minister Alan Tudge, but what immigration told me, it could be any one of those three people, being Peter Dutton, Jason Wood, or Alan Tudge.
Mm.
So, I mean, but Alan Tudge being the immigration minister, one would hope that it goes to him.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just it just feels more mentally crushing because before it was indefinite arbitrary detention.
Mm.
But what was in our control, we did it. We've won the full federal court appeal. We've won it under international law with the Australian Human Rights Commission's report.
Yep.
Now, there's nothing more in our control. It's pretty much in Alan Tudge's control to let me out.
Mm.
And
Sorry, are you getting a delivery of hand sanitizer? Is that what that sounded?
I wish, man. That looks like the. Oh, here we are. Can you see the wind?
Oh, it's a ute. Someone's coming in to do some gardening.
Yeah, they're doing the grass mowing thing today.
Oh.
And speaking of detention, would you believe that Serco steals our food?
Your food, hang on, like 3 weeks ago we spoke and
Yeah.
you told me that there is no hand sanitizer because it's with alcohol.
Yeah.
That Serco have been caught stealing toilet paper.
Yeah.
And now, and you also told me that activities managers came in 3 or 4 weeks ago to tell you all the wrong things about COVID-19.
Yeah.
Now, Serco guards, that are the guards that run the detention centre, runs the detention centre, are stealing your food.
Yeah.
You must have some really top quality food for people to be able to steal it.
Yeah, That's what I fail to understand, because these people are free people. They're getting paid to be here. They get to go home and get to buy whatever food they like. So, of all things, they want to steal the shitty detention center food.
What are they?
And
Why are they stealing your food? Who? What evidence do you have, Nauroze?
oh, I've been in detention for 5 years. The other thing was the kitchen staff started locking their fridge in the kitchen
Yeah.
where detainees' food was there, because kitchen staff said that officers been taking your food when we're not here, so we have to lock the fridge. And like yesterday, where they made a pizza after once a month or once in a 2 months, um, they made the kitchen staff made me wait there so he can pack all the leftover pizzas so I can take it for the rest of the detainees, because the officers were waiting to take them.
Right.
So it's yeah, it's just pretty sad state of affairs, because they steal the toilet paper. Um, I mean, the masks has been gone. Masks, the cartons of masks have
Yeah.
just disappeared into thin air, and we don't know who did it. And food. So, who is the criminal here?
Wow. So they even had masks for the detainees, but they've all disappeared as well.
Yes, HMS told me that twice in a 2 weeks in a row, or twice, 6 big cartons of masks, which was meant for us,
Mm.
have disappeared from the HMS clinic.
Wow.
And they say it's pretty serious. We have reported to Australian Border Force, but I mean, where's the transparency in any of that? Because
Nauroze, Border Force can't stop people getting off a boat and running throughout Sydney who are infected with coronavirus. They can't be everywhere. They can't stop. They can't arrest people that are stealing masks from detainees who don't have coronavirus.
yeah, I mean, Australian Border Force is like that wife beating abusive husband who who can't stand up for himself at work, who can't stand up for himself on the streets, but when he comes home he beats his wife.
Right.
He gets teams, so that's what they're doing. I mean, they show themselves to us as like some kind of tough guys, and they beat us up and do all kind of stuff to us here, out of sight, out of mind. But meanwhile, where actual security of Australia matters, they conceded it. I mean, Ruby Princess, like 10% of total cases of Australia, and they're playing handball with the whole blame game is going on over there.
Mm.
So, but you know, as I said yesterday, this country, I mean, no amount of economic or like economic greatness can make this nation great without having any morals or humanity and respect for the sacredness of human life.
Mm.
I mean, for example, this coronavirus hit, but imagine if Australia is faced with a long sustained challenge like a war, for example.
Mm.
I mean, somebody invites us. I mean, society is going to tear itself apart because there is no moral. They're fighting over uh, ticky-tack stuff over supermarket. There's no unity. There's no humanity. There's no um, social values, no community values at all.
I feel like that might change with this. So while I feel like things will be different after this, and we'll have to see how that plays out. But all we can hope for is that there will be a more generous Australia after this, because it's really tough out there, and everyone has lost their jobs, and it's extraordinary. And you will probably have to wait longer to get out, no doubt, which will be hard.
Yeah.
Because the eyes are off the ball at the moment with all this other stuff. But you will get out. You're going to get out.
Yeah, like to hope so, man. I mean, the government always needs an excuse to give a distraction, get a distraction out of their human rights record. And that's the thing I continue saying. We don't have a charter of rights in Australia. And with the kind of police state powers, people are getting, you know, people are getting arrested for having a pizza in their driveway and getting
Nauroze, but Serco isn't getting arrested for stealing your pizza.
Yeah, no, but the Serco
Maybe
is
what
like,
Border Force needs is a distraction from Ruby Princess. And in order
yeah,
to distract about Ruby Princess, they can release you and
yeah,
make a story about releasing you
yeah.
from arbitrary detention, which will distract from Ruby Princess. Maybe you will be the benefit of this. They'll have a
I
good
mean,
news story. They'll have a good news story.
yeah, I mean, you know, in ideal world, I genuinely have no idea what freedom feels like anymore, man. Like 5 years, seen all of the horrors of detention there is to see, and
Well,
you know,
Nauroze, let me ask you this. You're a detention expert. Now the rest of Australia is in detention.
hmm,
Do you have one tip for the rest of Australia to survive this detention period?
yeah, just they need to look at my life to feel themselves, you know, make themselves feel better. I mean, just I'm happy. Just look at me. I'm locked up indefinitely since 2016,
Mm,
and they at least have the luxury of being with their loved ones in their own home.
yeah.
I mean, talking about spending some quality time with your family, do that, because I haven't seen my family in over almost 5 calendar years.
Mm.
So cherish that. And I mean, surely there will be some mental health issues going around. So the thing to do with that is like, that's what I do in arbitrary detention, is that I think about what I'm fighting for, what is most important to me. So love for my partner, love for my home. I mean, just have that in your heart, you know, what you're fighting for or what is more dear to you. And that will get you through the days. But again, if you're working 9 to 5 jobs, you have no um, principles in life and you have no, um, you know, like goals in your life apart from making money, then you'll struggle.
Yeah.
I mean, life is not all about just making money. It's more than that.
Yeah.
And this this quarantine time should, you know, people, Australians need to realize that as a society, change needs to be made as to the things which are being done under their name as well, because regardless of all of the Australia is in the same boat, so to say. So it doesn't, you can't say that like only 5 people on the boat are trying to help the boat from stopping it from sinking. Because if the boat sinks, everybody drowns. Doesn't matter how many people were involved in saving it or not.
Let me ask you about your partner. She needs a full-time carer. How is
Yeah.
she at this time? How is she faring during these circumstances?
Mate, she's been extremely unwell on a public treatment order. Her, see, the thing is, when they put me in arbitrary detention,
Mm.
they, I was the one paying the rent. I was the one with the job. She's only on a disability support pension. So I was working full time and looking after her. So when they put me in arbitrary detention, they made her effectively homeless and also left her without a carer.
Mm.
So I paid the rent for as long as I could from detention. And when my savings ran out, she was onto the streets and then got hospitalized. And then a psychiatrist and our medical staff contacted me that we can't release her onto the streets and we can't keep her in the hospital for longer than 3 months either.
Right.
And we need accommodation for her, right? And her parents are divorced and they don't want to have anything to do with her.
Mm.
So I begged them to take them in, but they're like, nah. So I tried to withdraw my superannuation on compassionate grounds so I can give her the money to set her up in a safe accommodation.
Mm.
And the superannuation, the government was like, the government department, that you're not at a retirement age, neither are you Australian citizen. So you can't withdraw your superannuation prematurely on compassionate grounds.
Right.
So,
Wow. They're like stealing from you.
yeah, it's my money. And would you believe I have to do tax returns every year from detention
Detention.
too?
From
Yeah,
detention. Oh
yeah,
my.
bro.
Oh my God.
And I mean, like it's funny that little Johnny's deputy on Q&A on Monday was saying that we're going to put Australian citizens first and refugees second. Well, okay, fair enough. You're not put Australian citizen first. What about my Australian citizen partner? Just because she's disabled and not rich, I mean, they don't care about her. They left her to literally die, and I mean, her health is irreversibly deteriorated to the point that she's been like, having suicide ideation, which she never had all her life. So this is what I'm fighting for, and this heartless government doesn't care.
Well, Nauroze, all we can do is keep telling your story and tell other people about your story. And you do such a great job on Twitter talking about your story, and people are invested in you and only want to see you out of there and looking after your partner as soon as possible.
You fight to can't, mate. Yeah, just gotta continue fighting until the door opens. That's how it is. And I mean, human rights, as I say, my human rights are not for this government to take it away, because our human rights, we don't understand human rights in this country at all.
Yeah, we don't have any.
We don't have any.
People forget we're a penal colony. We're just a 200-year-old penal colony.
Yeah, and as my Queen's Counsel Julian Burnside said in one of his talks, then people don't have human rights because they're white or Christian or pleasant. We have human rights because we're humans. And until we understand that, we won't understand human rights in this country. So we gotta continue the struggle. And I mean, when I get out, this won't be over. I still have plans to help people who have suffered trauma in detention. And I want to set up like a support center, and not just like, psychological support, but like a group where we get
stepping stone.
Yes, where we get people.
Yeah.
And that trauma center won't be limited just for immigration detainees, for Australian citizens too, because a trauma is a trauma. So, and you know what, like, money doesn't make me happy anymore. Like, money never made me happy. It's about spreading love and helping other people. So hopefully I get an opportunity to get out of this hellhole one day and make a change, and be able to get back to my partner, pick up the pieces of my life and rebuild.
Yeah. Well, Nauroze, hopefully we can have a pizza together outside.
Yeah.
Just outside Villawood, some of the best pizza in Sydney.
But anytime I see, I think I told you when you were here, anytime I see an ad for a pizza or KFC or Macca's, I just want to cry, man, because it's like, oh man, it's like, I haven't had it for 5 years, so all I've had is shitty detention food.
If you're at Macca's or KFC or a pizza place or Domino's and you're watching this, all you have to do is send a drone over to Villawood and drop some near Nauroze. All right, Nauroze. Peace. I got to go.
Thanks for having me, mate. I'll speak to you soon then.
Yeah, bye.
Cheers, mate.